गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरा गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः.
It was in the autumn of 1861 that Lahiri Mahasaya met Babaji. He was stationed in Danapur as a government accountant in the military engineering department. One morning, the office manager summoned him, informing him that a telegram was sent from the main office, which stated that Lahiri Mahasaya was to be transferred to Ranikhet, where an army post was being established. Lahiri Mahasaya set off to the Himalayan post of Ranikhet, and on the way spent many hours roaming in the magnificent hills. He had heard a rumor that great saints who blessed the region were present in the vicinity, and he felt a strange desire to meet them. One early afternoon, he was astounded to hear a distant voice calling his name. He continued his vigorous upward climb on Dronagiri mountain, although he was plagued with an uneasy thought that he might not be able to retrace his steps before darkness set over the jungle. Lahiri Mahasaya finally reached a small clearing whose sides were besotted with caves. On one of the rocky ledges stood a smiling young man, extending his hands in welcome. To Lahiri Mahasaya's astonishment, he noticed that except for his copper-colored hair, the young man bore a remarkable resemblance to himself. The young man expressed his joy on seeing Lahiri, stating that he was glad to see that his telegram took effect. And with that, he touched Lahiri Mahasaya. At his magnetic touch, a wondrous current swept through Lahiri Mahasaya's brain, releasing the sweet seed memories of his previous life. Lahiri Mahasaya spoke with a joyous sob, saying that he remembered his guru, who always belonged to him. Babaji then advised Lahiri Mahasaya to bestow Kriya Ki only on qualified chelas, stating that he who vows to sacrifice all in the quest of the divine is fit to unravel the final mysteries of life through the science of meditation. At this, Lahiri Mahasaya seek permission to communicate Kriya to all seekers, who even though at first did not vow themselves to complete inner renunciation, explaining that the tortured men and women of the world, pursued by the threefold suffering, needed special encouragement and would never attempt the road to freedom if Kriya initiation was withheld from them. Babaji granted Lahiri Mahasaya's wish, stating that he was to give Kriya to all who humbly asked for help. Consoled by Babaji's wondrous promise, the rich with the newly found gold of God wisdom, Lahiri Mahasaya worked his way down the mountain. A letter soon arrived from the head office that stated that Lahiri Mahasaya should return to the Danapur office, as his transfer to Ranikhet occurred by error. Lahiri Mahasaya smiled, reflecting on the hidden cross currents in the events that led him to the farthermost spot of India. This was the historic meeting of the chief disciple with his revered guru, which onset the revelation of the hidden science of Kriya Yoga to the masses. I was born in the last decade of the 19th century and passed my first 8 years at Gorakhpur. This was my birthplace in the United Provinces of northeastern India. We were 8 children, 4 boys and 4 girls. I, Mukunda Lal Ghosh, was the second son and the 4th child. Father and mother were Bengalis of the Kshatriya caste. Both were blessed with saintly nature. Father, Bhagbati Charan Ghosh, was kind, grave, and at times stern. Mother was a queen of hearts and taught us only through love. Father was also kindly disposed, but his respect for law and order extended to the budget.
All I ask is to keep your charities within a reasonable limit.
Goodbye. I'm going away to my mother's home.
Ancient ultimatum. After father made a few consolatory remarks, mother happily dismissed the cab. Father first met Larry Masaya through Abhinash Babu, an employee in the Gorakhpur office of the Bengal Nagpur Railway. Abhinash Babu instructed my young years with engrossing tales of many Indian saints. He invariably concluded with a tribute to the superior glories of his own guru.
Did you ever hear of the extraordinary circumstances under which your father became a disciple of Lahiri Mahasaya? Years ago, I asked my superior officer, your father, to give me a week's leave from my Gorakhpur duties to visit my guru in Benares. Your father ridiculed my plan.
Are you going to become a religious fanatic? Concentrate on your office work if you want to forge ahead in life.
Bhagwati, you are too hard on your employee.
Abhinash, not only do I give you leave, but I give myself leave to start for Benares tomorrow. I must know this great Lahiri Mahasaya, who is able to materialize himself at will in order to intercede for you. I will take my wife and ask this master to initiate us in his spiritual path. Will you guide us to him?
Of course.
You are too hard on your employee. I'm glad that you have allowed Abhinash to visit me and that you have come with your wife.
Larry Masaya initiated my parents in the spiritual practice of Kriya Yoga.
O omnipresent Master, I thank you that your light has healed my son.
I was blessed about the age of 8 with a wonderful healing through the photograph of Larry Masaya. Another early recollection is outstanding, and literally so, for I bear the scar to this day. My elder sister Uma and I were seated early in the morning under a neem tree in our Gorakhpur compound. She was helping me with a Bengali primer, what time I could spare my gaze from the nearby parrots eating ripe margosa fruit. Uma complained of a boil on her leg and fetched a jar of ointment. I smeared a bit of the salve on my forearm.
Why do you use medicine on a healthy arm?
Well, sis, I feel I am going to have a boil tomorrow. I am testing your ointment on the spot where the boil will appear.
You little liar!
Sis, don't call me liar until you see what happens in the morning.
Liar, liar, liar!
Tomorrow I shall have a fairly large boil in this exact place on my arm, and your boil shall swell to twice its present size.
An adamant resolution sounded in my voice. Morning found me with a stalwart boil on the indicated spot. The dimensions of Uma's boil had doubled. Gravely, Mother instructed me never to use the power of words for doing harm. I have always remembered her counsel and followed it. The infinite potencies of sound derive from the creative word Om, the cosmic vibratory power behind all atomic energies. Any word spoken with clear realization and deep concentration has a materializing value. My mother's greatest desire was the marriage of my elder brother. Shortly before the great day, however, I had an ominous vision. Her voice was only a whisper.
Awaken your father. Take the first available train at 4 o'clock this morning. Rush to Calcutta if you would see me.
The wraith-like figure vanished. The melancholy morning came with explicit words. Mother dangerously ill. Marriage postponed. Come at once. When we reached our Calcutta home, it was only to confront the stunning mystery of death. My cries at last summoned the Divine Mother.
It is I who have watched over thee, life after life, in the tenderness of many mothers. Seek in my gaze the two black eyes, the lost, beautiful eyes of your mother.
Her words brought final healing to my suppurating wounds. 14 months after Mother's passing, I learned that she had left me a momentous message. Ananta was present at her deathbed and had recorded her words. Let these words be my final blessing. The hour is here when I must relate a number of phenomenal events following your birth. I first knew your destined path when you were but a babe in my arms. I carried you then to the home of my Guru in Benares. My master seated you on his lap, placing his hand on your forehead by way of spiritually baptizing
Little
you.
mother, your son will be a yogi. As a spiritual engine, he'll carry many souls to God's kingdom.
The most singular event in my life brought further confirmation.
Mother, the great masters wish you to know that your stay on earth will not be long. Your next illness shall prove to be your last. You are to be the custodian of a certain silver amulet. I will not give it to you today. To demonstrate the truth in my words, it shall materialize in your hands tomorrow as you meditate. On your deathbed, you have to instruct your eldest son Ananta to keep the amulet for 1 year and then hand it over to your second son. Mukunda will understand the meaning of the talisman from the great ones. He should receive it about the time he is ready to renounce all worldly hopes and start his vital search for God. When he has retained the amulet for some years, and when it has served its purpose, it shall vanish. Even if kept in the most secret spots, it shall return whence it came.
Do not grieve for me. The Cosmic Mother will protect you.
I have a business matter to propose to a Banaras friend, Kedarnath Babu. Unfortunately, I have lost his address. But I believe you will be able to get this letter to him through our common friend Swami Pranabananda.
My keen love of travel was seldom hindered by my father. He permitted me, even as a mere boy, to visit many cities and pilgrimage spots. He summoned me and held out a round-trip pass from Bareilly to Benares, a number of rupee notes, and 2 letters.
Of course, I will locate Kedarnath Babu for you.
His words were out before I had time to get my father's letter from my pocket.
You know, I am enjoying 2 pensions. One is by the recommendation of your father, for whom I once worked in the railroad office, and the other by the recommendation of my heavenly Father, for whom I have consistently finished earthly duties in my life.
What kind of pension, sir?
I mean a pension of fathomless peace, a reward for my many years of deep meditation. I never crave money now. My few material needs are amply provided for. Later you will understand the significance of second pension. Little sir, don't get worried. The man you wish to see will be with you in half an hour.
Are you Kedarnath Babu?
Yes. Are you not Bhagwati's son?
How do you happen to come here?
Everything is mysterious today.
Come with me. I cannot believe my ears.
Look, those are the same sandals Swami was wearing at the ghat. He was clad in the same dhoti as I see him now.
Why are you so stupefied at all this? The subtle unity of this phenomenal world is not hidden from true yogis. I can instantly converse and see my disciples in distant Calcutta. They can easily transcend at will every obstacle of gross matter. Your life belongs to the path of renunciation and yoga. I shall see you again later on with your father.
The years brought fulfillment to both these predictions. Leave your classroom on some trifling pretext and engage a hackney carriage. Stop in the lane where no one in my house can see you. These were my final instructions to Amar, a high school friend who planned to accompany me to the Himalayas. I hoped to find the master whose face had often appeared to me in visions. The family was now living in Calcutta, where father had been permanently transferred. Following the patriarchal Indian custom, Ananta had brought his bride to live in our home, now at 4 Garpur Road. For months, we had been saving our tiffin money to buy English clothes. Knowing that my clever brother could easily play the part of a detective, we thought to outwit him by wearing European garb. In a few hours, we entrained for Haridwar via Bareilly. Changing trains at Mughal Serai, we discussed a vital matter as we waited on the platform.
Amar, we may soon be closely questioned by railroad officials. I am not underrating my brother's ingenuity, no matter what's the outcome. I don't speak untruth.
All I ask of you, Mukunda, is to keep still. Don't flop on green while I am talking.
Are you running away from home in anger?
No.
Where is the third boy?
Sir, I notice you are wearing eyeglasses. Can't you see? We are only 2.
What's your name?
I am Thomas. He is Thompson.
You will never meet a greater man of God than the one I saw only yesterday. My brother officer and I first encountered him 5 days ago. We were patrolling by the Ganges on a sharp lookout for a certain murderer. Our instructions were to capture him alive or dead. He was known to be masquerading as a sadhu in order to rob the pilgrims. A short way before us, we spied a figure which resembled the description of the murderer. He ignored our command to stop. We ran to overpower him. Approaching his back, I wielded my axe with tremendous force. The man's right arm was severed almost completely from his body. But I was shocked to see, without any outcry, any glance at the ghastly wound, the stranger continued his swift pace. As we jumped in front of him, he spoke very quietly that I am not the murderer you are seeking. I was mortified to see that I had injured a person of such a great-looking divine sage. Prostrating myself at his feet, I offered my turban cloth to staunch the heavy spots of blood. Son, that was just an understandable mistake on your part. The saint regarded me kindly. Run along and don't reproach yourself. The beloved mother is taking care of me. And you won't believe, he then pushed his dangling arm into its stump. And it adhered. The blood ceased to flow. He then said to us, "Come to me under yonder tree in 3 days. You will find me fully healed. Thus you will feel no remorse." Yesterday, my brother officer and I went to the designated spot. The sadhu was there, And he allowed us to examine his arm. It bore no scar. He then said to us, I'm going to Himalayan solitudes via Rishikesh. He blessed us as he departed quickly.
Amar and I lamented that we had missed the great yogi who could forgive his persecutor in such a Christ-like way. India, materially poor for the last 2 centuries, yet has an inexhaustible fund of divine wealth. We thanked the officer for relieving our tedium with his marvelous story. Our earnest search had ended.
Rahu, Chandra, Mangal. Big problem. Big problem. You will meet continual misfortune and never be able to find God if you insist on deserting your ordinary responsibilities. You cannot work your post-karma without worldly experiences.
The forceful prognostications of the young man had slightly shaken my confidence. With all the fervour of my heart, I prayed silently to God. Please solve my bewilderment and answer me right here and now, if thou dost desire me to lead the life of a renunciate or a worldly man. I noticed a sadhu of noble countenance standing just outside the compound of the Pandit's house.
Son, don't listen to that ignoramus. In response to your prayer, the Lord tells me to assure you that your sole path in this life is that of the renunciate. Come away from that man.
Don't listen to that man. Come back.
The ignoramus was calling me from the courtyard. With astonishment as well as gratitude, I smiled happily at this decisive message. At home in Calcutta, Father touchingly requested me to curb my roving feet until at least the completion of my high school studies. In my absence, he had lovingly hatched a plot by arranging for saintly Pandit, Swami Keblananda, to come regularly to the house. Unknown to my father, Swami Keblananda was an exalted disciple of Lahiri Mahasaya. The peerless Guru had possessed thousands of disciples, silently drawn to him by the irresistibility of his divine magnetism. I later learned that Lahiri Mahasaya had often characterized Keblananda as Rishi or illumined sage. Luxuriant curls framed my tutor's handsome face. I sought every opportunity to forsake prosaic grammar and to talk of yoga and Lahiri Mahasaya. My tutor obliged me one day by telling me something of his own life with the master.
Lahiri Mahasaya was no bookish interpreter of the scriptures. Effortlessly, he dipped into a divine library. Foam of words and spray of thoughts gushed from the fountain of his omniscience. He had that wondrous clavis that unlocked the deep, profound philosophical science embedded ages ago in the Vedas. If asked to explain the different planes of consciousness mentioned in the text, he would smilingly assent. I will undergo those states and presently tell you what I perceive. The master never counseled slavish belief. Words are only shells, he said. Win the conviction of God with your own joyous meeting through meditation. If any disciple had a problem, you know what he would suggest? He would suggest Kriya Yoga for its solution. The yogic key will not lose its efficiency if I'm no longer present in the body to guide you. This technique cannot be bound, filed, and forgotten in the manner of any theoretical inspirations. Continue ceaselessly on the path of salvation through Kriya, whose power lies in whose power lies in practice. I myself believe that Kriya is the most effective device to attain salvation through self effort ever to have evolved in man's search for the infinite.
Ramu, someone has connived to put me in a difficult position. I have no healing power.
From my birth, sir, never have my eyes been blessed with a glimpse of the sun. Master, the illuminator of the cosmos is in you. I pray you to bring his light into my eyes, that I perceive the sun's laser glow. Sir, the infinite one within, you can certainly heal, sir.
That is indeed different, Ramu. God's limit is nowhere. Keep your mind concentrated on the spiritual eye. The splendor of the sun shall have a special dawn for you.
In 1 week it was so. For the first time, Ramu beheld the fair face of nature. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. I did not have this wisdom of Solomon to comfort me. I gazed searchingly about me on any excursion from home for the face of my destined Guru. But my path did not cross his until after the completion of my high school studies. 2 years elapsed between my flight with Amar towards the Himalayas and the great day of Sri Yukteswar's arrival into my life. I met a number of sages, the perfume saint, the tiger Swami, Nagendranath Bhaduri, and Master Mahasaya.
I am talking to the Divine Mother.
Holy Sir, ask Divine Mother if I find any favor in her sight.
I will make your plea to the beloved Mother.
Sir, remember your pledge. I shall return soon for her message.
I returned to my Garpur road home. Seeking the seclusion of my small attic, I remained in meditation until 10 o'clock. The darkness of the warm Indian night was suddenly lit with a wondrous vision. Haloed in splendor, the Divine Mother stood before me. Her face tenderly smiling was beauty itself.
Always have I loved thee, ever shall I love thee.
The following morning, I paid my second visit to Master Mahasaya. Sir, I have come early for your message.
Yes, little sir.
Do saints never speak plainly?
Must you test me? Do I have a single word to add to the assurance received by you last night at 10 o'clock by beloved Mother herself?
Master Mahasaya was a disciple of a Christ-like master, Sri Ramakrishna Paramhansa. He gently slapped my chest over the heart. A transforming silence ensued. As though possessing an omnipresent eye, I beheld the scenes which were behind me and to each side as easily as those in front. The whole spectacle of activity in that small section of Calcutta passed before me without a sound. I drank deep from some blissful fount. Suddenly, my chest received another soft blow from Master Mahasaya. The pandemonium of the world burst upon my unwilling ears. I staggered, as though harshly awakened from a gossamer dream. I started to drop in gratitude on the ground before him.
You can't do that to me now. You know God is in your temple also.
Faith in God can produce any miracle except one, passing an examination without study. The writer's exception showed his complete lack of faith. The week of final examinations at the Hindu high school was fast approaching.
I suppose it is up to me to help you. These questions are the bait which will catch by the many trusting boys from the examination trap. Remember my answers and you will escape without injury.
The simple words conveyed divine promise to my ears. He kindly outlined the solutions to various problems he considered likely to be set by the instructors. I attained the minimum grade for success in all my other subjects. In my new dignity, I was now openly planning to leave home. Together with a young friend, Jitendra Mazumdar, I decided to join a Mahamandal hermitage in Benares and receive its spiritual discipline. All attachments disappeared. My resolution to seek God as the friend of friends set like granite within me. With reluctant parental consent, I set out to join Jitendra, already in Benares at the hermitage. I had become accustomed in my own home to a large breakfast at 9 o'clock. Gone were the Calcutta years when I could rebuke the cook for a 10-minute delay. Now, I tried to control my appetite. One day, I undertook a 24-hour fast.
Swamiji, were not you hungry?
Oh yes. I have spent last 4 days without food or drink. I never eat on trains, filled with the heterogeneous vibrations of worldly people. What's the hurry? Tomorrow I will make it a point to have a proper meal.
Swamiji, I'm puzzled. Following your instructions, suppose I never ask for food and nobody gives me any. I should starve to death.
Die then. Die if you must, Mukunda. Never admit that you live by the power of food and not by the power of God. Do not imagine that rice maintains you, or man or money support you. Will they help if Lord withdraws your life breath? They are his indirect instruments merely. Is it by any of your skill that food digests in your stomach? Use the sword of discrimination, Mukunda, and cut through the chain of agencies and perceive the single cause.
I found his incisive words entering some deep marrow. Gone was the age-old delusion by which bodily imperatives outwit the soul. There and then I tasted the Spirit's all-sufficiency. My relationship with Dayananda's followers grew steadily worse. The household was alienated, hurt by my determined aloofness. My strict adherence to meditation on the very ideal for which I had left home and all worldly ambitions called forth shallow criticism on all sides. Torn by spiritual anguish, resolved to pray until answer was vouchsafed. Merciful Mother of the Universe, teach me thyself through visions or through a guru sent by thee. Suddenly, I felt lifted as though bodily to a sphere uncircumscribed.
Your guru will come today.
Together, Habu and I set out for a distant marketplace in the Bengali section of Benares. I turned my head and surveyed the narrow length. A Christ-like man in ochre robes of a Swami stood motionless at the end of the road.
Oh, my own, you have come to me. How many years I have waited for you. I will give you my hermitages and all I possess.
No, sir. I come for wisdom and God contact. Those are your treasure troves. I'm after.
I will give you my unconditional love. Will you give me the same?
I will love you eternally, Gurudev.
Ordinary love is selfish, deeply rooted in desires and satisfactions. Divine love is without condition, without boundary, without change. The flux of the human heart is gone forever at the transfixing touch of pure love. If ever you find me falling from a state of God realization, please promise to put my head on your lap and help to bring me back to the cosmic beloved we both worship. Do not grieve for your amulet. It has served its purpose.
The living reality of your presence, Master, is joy beyond any symbol.
It is time for a change. Inasmuch as you are unhappily situated in the hermitage, you should go back to Calcutta. Why exclude your relatives from your love of humanity?
Sir, I'm not returning home, but I will follow you anywhere. Please give me your name and address.
Swami Shri Yukteswar Giri. My chief hermitage is in Sirampur, on Sarai Ghat Lane. I am visiting my mother here for a few days only. Now, I have told my internal affection and have shown my happiness at finding you. That is why you disrespect my request. Next time we meet, you will have to reawaken my interest. I won't accept you as a disciple easily. There must be a complete surrender by obedience to my strict training. Do you think your relatives will laugh at you?
I'll not return.
You will return in 30 days.
I wondered at God's intricate play with his devotees. Serampore is but 12 miles from Calcutta, yet in those regions I had never caught a glimpse of my Guru. We had to travel for our meeting to the ancient city of Kashi, hallowed by the memories of Lahiri Mahasaya. Here too the feet of Buddha, Shankaracharya and other Yogi Christs had blessed the soil. I wondered why the miraculous meeting had ended on such an inharmonious note. The dual scales of Maya that balance every joy with a grief. My young heart was not yet malleable to the transforming fingers of my Guru. I noticed increased hostility in the attitude of the hermitage members. My days became spiked with invariable rudeness. In 3 weeks, Dhyananda left the ashram to attend a conference in Bombay. Pandemonium broke over my hapeless head. With heavy heart, I sought out my soul friend, Jitendra.
Jitendra, I'm leaving. Please convey my respectful regrets to Dayanandaji when he returns.
I will leave also. My attempts to meditate here meet no more favor than your own.
An elder brother's sermon was assaulting my ears. Jitendra and I, fresh from the train, had just arrived at the home of Ananta, recently transferred from Calcutta to the ancient city of Agra. Brother was a supervising accountant for the Bengal Nagpur Railway.
It would serve you right, Mukund, if father disinherited you. How foolishly you are throwing away your life.
You will, Ananda. I seek my inheritance from the Heavenly Father.
Money first. God can come later. Who knows, life may be too long.
No, God first. Money is his slave. And who can tell? Life may be too short.
Wisdom. Wisdom from hermitage, I suppose. But I see you have left Banaras.
My sojourn in Banaras was not in vain. I found there everything my heart had been longing for. And you may be sure, it was not a Pandit.
So, what are your plans, my little wandering brother?
Jitendra persuaded me to Agra. We shall view the beauties of the Taj. And then we are going to my newly found guru, who has a hermitage in Sirampur.
I suggest that your haunted philosophy be put to a test in this tangible world.
I would agree. Brother, do you confine God to a speculative word?
We shall see. We shall see. Today, you shall have opportunity either to enlarge or confirm my own views. I propose that I send you and your fellow disciple Jitendra to the nearby city of Vrindavan. You must not take a single rupee. You must not beg either for food or money. You must not reveal your predicament to anyone. You must not go without your meals. And you must not be stranded in Vrindavan. If without having broken any rules of the test, you return here to my bungalow by 12 o'clock tonight, I will be the most astonished man in Agra. And you must go along as a witness, very likely as a fellow victim.
Ananta, give me 1 or 2 rupees as safeguard. Then I can telegraph you in case of misfortune.
Jitendra, I will not proceed with the test if you take any money as finance security. There is something reassuring about the clink of coins.
Mukunda, I am not heartless. If by any chance or grace you successfully pass through the Vrindavan ordeal, I shall ask you to initiate me as your disciple.
A hint of humility crept into Ananta's voice. The eldest brother in an Indian family seldom bows before his juniors. He receives respect and obedience second only to a father.
So, what should be our plan? Then, tell me, what should we do?
You only keep saying, God will do everything for us.
Exactly.
Where is your God?
He is with us.
Do you have friends in Vrindavan?
None of your business.
You are probably flying away from your families under the enchantment of the Stealer of Hearts. I am of devotional temperament myself. I will make it my positive duty to see that you receive food and shelter from this overpowering heat.
No, sir. Let us alone. You are very kind, but you are mistaken in judging us to be trans from home.
Maybe, but we all are devotees of Lord Krishna.
A smiling lad led us without comment to a parlour. We were soon joined by an elderly woman of dignified bearing. Gaurima, the princess could not come. One of the men addressed the ashram hostess. At the last moment, their plans went awry. They sent deep regrets. But we have brought 2 other guests. As soon as we met on the train, I felt drawn to them as devotees of Lord Krishna.
Goodbye, young friends. We shall meet again, if God be willing.
You are welcome here. Gaurima smiled in a motherly fashion on her 2 unexpected charges. My friend and I made for the shelter of a lordly Kadamba tree at the ashram gate. Sharp words followed.
A fine mess you have got me into. Our luncheon was just an accidental good fortune. How can we see the sights of this city without a single pice between us? And how on earth are you going to take me back to Ananta?
Jitendra, you forget God quickly. Now that your stomach is filled.
I'm not likely to forget my folly in venturing out with a madcap like you.
Be quiet, Jitendra. Be quiet. The same Lord who fed us will show us the way to Vrindavan and return us to Agra.
Dear friend, you and your companion must be strangers here. Permit me to be your host and guide. You are surely not banishing me.
Why not?
Because you are my Guru. During my midday devotions, the blessed Lord Krishna appeared in a vision, and he showed me two forsaken faces under this very tree. One of the faces was yours, my master. Often I have seen it in meditation. What joy if you accept my humble services.
I too am glad you have found me. Neither God nor man has forsaken us.
Dear friends, will you not honor my home for a visit?
So kind of you. But the plan is unfeasible. We are already guests of my brother in Agra.
At least, let me have memories of touring Vrindavan with you. Great.
Please allow me to gain this religious merit. Please.
Pratap, I will instruct you in the Kriya of Lahiri Mahasaya, the greatest guru of modern times. His techniques will be your guru.
The technique, which as you see is simple, embodies the art of quickening man's spiritual evolution. Hindu scriptures teach that the incarnating ego requires 1,000,000 years to obtain liberation from Maya. This natural period is greatly shortened through Kriya Yoga. Just as Jagdish Chandra Bose has demonstrated that plants' growth can be accelerated far beyond its normal rate, so man's psychological development can also be speeded by an inner science. Ananta spoke with a spiritual enthusiasm never before noticeable. I understand for the first time your indifference to the vaults and vulgar accumulations of the world. Late as it was, my brother insisted that he receive Diksha into Kriya Yoga. The Guru, Mukunda, had to shoulder the responsibility of 2 unsought disciples in one day. My friend, who may mildly be described as vacillating in temperament, left me in Calcutta. A throb of wonderment stole over me as I realized that 28 days had elapsed since the Benares meeting with my Guru.
Little mother, your son will be a yogi. As a spiritual engine, he'll carry many souls to God's kingdom.
Mukunda will understand the meaning of the talisman from the great ones.
You will come to me in 4 weeks.
Your sole path in this life is that of the renunciate.
Here I was. I entered for the first time the hermitage where I was to spend the best part of the next 10 years.
My prayers have been answered. You have not, in your search for God, been permanently removed from my sight.
With India's Gyan Avatar, the incarnation of wisdom.
You have come. I am here to follow you, Guruji.
How can that be? You ignore my wishes?
No longer, Guruji. Your wish shall be my law.
That is better. Now, I can assume responsibility for your life.
व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः।